Hello to everyone. Pleasure to be here with two great panelists talking about blockchain and NFTs. And I would like to introduce our two guests to this panel with a brief sketch of their career. They are a great expert and reference in the world talking about blockchain and NFT. First one, Jorge Ortiz. He founded the Mexican FinTech Association, brought together more than 100 companies and institutions to establish and develop the fintech ecosystem in Mexico. He also is co-founder and advisor at Tantan, a digital wallet whose objective is replace the traditional wallet using blockchain technology. And in the other hand, we have Raj Kapoor. He in 2018 he established the India Blockchain Alliance, a non-profit organization who promotes the evidence-based and adoption of blockchain and disruptive ledger technologies in the public and private sector. It has become the most influential voice in the blockchain industry. It's a pleasure to be here with you. It's to me, it's a great experience talk with you. And I would like with the first dynamic with you talking in a common conversation to try to explain about these topics that I think it's more important. And there are a lot of people who is interested to understand and in some cases using these kind of technologies or in the other hand maybe invest on this kind of thing that is interest for the people. The dynamic is consistent in some asking for our panelists in a series of questions and interact with them. All right, well, let's go to start it with Raj. Raj, for the people nowadays, maybe don't have a clear idea about the blockchain. They hear a lot of information about the blockchain, and a lot of companies is talking about that, is using the blockchain, but in some cases they don't know the real concept about that. We can explain them in a simple word. What is blockchain? Can you help us with to try to
Sure.
answer this maybe simple but a complex concept too?
Yeah, I think you've got a good question there, actually, because you know why? I started my organization because of the same thing, because nobody would understand what is blockchain. Whenever I would speak about blockchain, people would tell me, is it Bitcoin? And everybody talked to me about Bitcoin. Everybody talked to me, oh, shall I invest in Bitcoin? So I said, there's a lot of information asymmetry. People don't really understand. They hear about it. There's not much written about it. There's not too many that at that time there were not too many courses or programs or degrees around that. So well, I'll explain to you in a very simple way. First, I'll explain to you in the most simplest way what is blockchain, and I'll make it even simpler after that. In the simplest of terms, blockchain is a time-stamped series of immutable records of data managed by a whole cluster of computers anywhere, not owned by any one entity. And these blocks of data are secured and bound to each other using crypto principles, which we call a chain. To make it even simpler, let's think of this. There's a saying in English, do not put all your eggs in one basket, right? We all heard of that. Now imagine the basket is the database and the eggs are the data. What can happen if all the data is in one place? What happens? You can lose a whole basket. Somebody can drop the basket. Somebody can steal two eggs. Somebody can steal all the eggs. Somebody can just make the whole basket disappear and say there was no basket. That's what's happening today. Now, imagine now when you have a distributed database, that's blockchain. Now you don't have one basket with 12 eggs, you have 12 baskets with 12 eggs in different locations, managed by different people, protected by different people. What are the chances of losing all, breaking all of them disappearing at the same time? Next to zero. So, friends, I always say blockchain is a basket of eggs spread across many locations. It's no more all the eggs in one basket. That old proverb is gone forever now. So that's blockchain, my friends. lots of data packed in together, very secure. And let's put it this way, the most secure way of securing your and my data is blockchain.
Thank you, Raj. A very clear example that in some cases, with this kind of information, this kind of examples, we understand. It's a clear example about that. Jorge, regard to this explanation that Raj is shared with us, you think that I know you sure, but I'm sure that this is it solves some things with blockchain. But in your opinion, what is the specific problem or need that blockchain solve in the market talking about technology?
Well, first, thanks for the invitation, Ramón. Raj, it's a pleasure to be here. Also, it was a great explanation about how blockchain works. Well, I think blockchain, and a lot of people think that blockchain equals Bitcoin, right? Or cryptocurrency in a broader market, which is just one aspect of the use of blockchain. I really think that blockchain is much more broader and can be used in a lot of ways, even in ways that we have not understand or we have not developed, since it's kind of a new technology or is a technology that is being developed day by day. But for instance, a lot of cryptocurrencies, I think blockchain can be used as of today in a lot of things. Like, for instance, to trace food. There are a lot of companies, even for instance in Latin America, that are developing or using this technology to trace food from when it's in the countryside to the big store, perhaps in the US. You can trace every single step of that component of food, whether it's meat, whether it's a vegetable, or whatever, from the countryside, perhaps in Latin America, perhaps in Argentina, to a big retail store in Chicago, for instance. Another use, and this is really simple. It can diminish a lot of cost and is on time, right? Another use is, for instance, to use it in real estate. There are companies, there are some examples, like for instance in the US, that some houses or apartments have been sold, and when you sign for your house, is now signed in blockchain. So kind of the property of that house is registered in blockchain. So another use is real estate. And of course, there are a lot of uses, I will say more trendier, like for instance, the metaverse or NFTs. These NFTs can be used whether in the metaverse or in real life. Actually, in Tantan, we have developed some, we call it NFT Pro, which is NFT for professional use. So we are making certificates for a lot of, for instance, events in Mexico and Latin America, just giving the attendees, the speakers, the VIPs, a blockchain certificate that they went to that event or that they took a course in a university. So there are real applications of blockchain today.
Right.
Absolutely. I'll just add a little bit to what Jorge said. You talked about real estate. That's a real great example because, in India, what we've done for one of the companies I worked on a project, we put his lease and rentals on the blockchain. So now, and we put a smart lock with a card. You don't pay a rent on time, it locks you out immediately because it's on the blockchain. The smart contract locks you out unless you pay again. So yes, blockchain is now becoming mainstream. It's gone everywhere. It's e-voting, e-governance, driving licenses on the blockchain, birth certificates, death certificates, to add to what the credentialing, which Jorge was talking about. We have of course, the supply chain, which Jorge mentioned, that's called the farm to fork model. You can trace everything. The traceability becomes great. A future energy credits on the blockchain, renewables on the blockchain, Well, there's no limit. Even hospitality, retail, loyalty points, airlines. Well, actually, the list is so large, we'll require 2 sessions to finish that. So I'll stop there.
Just right. You are talking about different kind of companies, different sectors who can blockchain is using in different ways with different kind of companies with different kind of including business model. For that reason, in some cases, there are some myths regard to the security, to the use about blockchain. In your opinion, Raj, what are the challenges facing to the blockchain regard to the companies, this kind of business model? What is the challenge to use blockchain?
Okay. I think the biggest challenge, and I always say this whenever I speak, is the lack of awareness. Companies are not aware what blockchain can do for them. That's the number one challenge, in my opinion. However, there are other challenges. How do we implement blockchain when we've already got our systems in place? So we already have legacy systems. We've already got existing systems. Do we dismantle them? Do we remove them? Do we only include blockchain? Will blockchain work with existing systems? That is another challenge at that. Third challenge is at the top level, at the CXO level. When people don't really understand, they will never be able to implement. Blockchain cannot be a down-up approach. It has to be a top-down approach. And that is another critical factor. Another thing is there are not so many use cases today for corporates to refer to. The corporates say, well, will this work? Will this not work? I don't know. Maybe it works for a Walmart. Will it work for me? Security issues come in the problem. That's one of the key things. Security issues. They are not sure of the technology. They also fear phishing attacks. So that they feel if we put in there, how do we, mitigate all these routing attacks, phishing attacks, endpoint vulnerabilities, or let's put it this way, so many things, so many gray areas, they don't seem to find the right sweet spot. Also, technology being relatively new at the enterprise level, the testing yet to be done in most medium-sized businesses. Large-sized businesses adopted, yes. They also feel that blockchain may be really expensive. It's not really, but they feel that. And that's a deterrent for companies. Oh, everything is going okay, let it go, a little problems, all right, doesn't matter. That's another thing. I always tell corporates, we must follow a model called the FITS model, FITS. And if you answer a question regarding these, you need blockchain. F stands for fraud. If your business is exposed to fraud or the systems are exposed to fraud, you need blockchain. I is information. Whenever there is an overload, lots of information, you need blockchain. T, trust. When there are trust issues, when there are many players in the game, for example, in the supply chain space, there are so many players, shippers, logistics, warehousing, and so on. Trust can be on blockchain. So S is security, the most secure form of securing your database. So if I say, if your corporates should just think fits, if the fits model fits in, you need blockchain. Rest of it can go out of the window. You really need blockchain today in each and every business. And I think corporates should, the faster they realize it and faster the C-level, the C-suite understands it, it's better. It has issues, yes. Nothing is perfect, but it has more solutions than it has problems. So anybody in the corporate space listening in, well, guys, it's the best thing since sliced bread. Enjoy it.
Excellent, Raj. Jorge, you talked about NFT, but I would like after to pass to the NFTs. If you have some idea about the adoption globally in different regions, countries, about blockchain adopting this kind of models, this kind of technology in their processes. You are talking about the different companies, the different sectors, the different business models. But in your opinion, which is the most important region at this moment who is using blockchain? And in the future, what is happening with this kind of adoption in different companies?
Yeah. Well, it's just I would say taking off the adoption of blockchain as a whole. I would say perhaps the most common use or people that has kind of adopted blockchain is again regarding cryptocurrencies. Like for instance, but more than the rate of adoption, I will focus on the rate of growth. So, I mean, it's not that small right now, but it is still, I mean, small as a percentage of the entire population, but it's really taking off. So I will consider more in looking into the growth rate than the current adoption rate, right? Because it will give you a trend or a tendency that is really, really growing the adoption of blockchain. Then, so I will say what people has used, or even we can put it as tested. No, they have invested in cryptocurrencies. Then I think the second segment will be NFTs. The use of NFTs from 2020, 2021, it really took off. It was kind of really trendy to buy an NFT, and there were some news that gave a great impact. Like for instance, the when they sold this artwork by the artist Beeple in 69 million US dollars, it was, I mean, it's an incredible amount of money for digital art, right? For any kind of art, but talking about kind of a new trending art that is digital art is amazing. The cost of this is a collage of pictures. So the second use, I will say, is NFTs, and then the third use that is growing little by little will be what Raj was describing. That I will just put it in a concept that are the adoption of smart contracts for professional use in companies. But I think that is taking off. We have heard a lot of huge companies, such as, for instance, as Walmart, that is making pilots using blockchain.
Yes. Also, blockchain, I think, is the adoption now, apart from the NFTs and blockchain, it's a lot of work happening in the DeFi space, a lot of work happening in Web3 space, and of course, the metaverse. Everyone wants to get to the metaverse, whether it's Facebook, whether it's us, we all want to go. You know, something till last year, I was working on 0 cases on the metaverse. Today, I'm working on 11 metaverses. So that's the change. I'm working on 18 NFT projects, 11 metaverses, blockchain projects, 5 DeFi. I've finished creating 2 swaps. That's the change. The last 2-3 years, there has been a major paradigm shift. And I'm working on more than 57 use cases of blockchain. I mean, we can have a separate session for that. But bottom line is, 3 years back, I was working on 7 or 8 of them. Today, 57 of them. That's a real move in the blockchain space. And let's enjoy that ride. I always say, let's enjoy the ride.
Great. Jorge, currently the concept of NFT is becoming very relevant for a lot of people. And there are more and more questions and interest of this. And I would like, because there are some people like me that we hear a lot of information about NFTs, but we don't have a clear idea that what is the NFT, what is the function, the utility of the NFTs. In some cases, you explain us about this digital art, these kind of things. But some cases we don't have the clear idea, concept, in fact, the utility of the NFTs. And we know that this is a huge opportunity of create ecosystems and these kinds of environments. Can you explain us a little more about NFTs? What are the NFTs and the functionality that the NFT has?
Sure. NFT is a token that is not equal to another. Non-fungible is that is not equal or replaceable for another token. A token is I will say it is a digital registry of something, right? So it could be an art piece, it could be a contract, it could be whatever, so that it is tokenized or it is registered digitally. And using blockchain, you have more security, as Raj was explaining at the beginning. You have a lot of eggs in a lot of baskets, so it's much more secure, and you diminish all the risk. So a token, I see it as a digital act that is registered in the digital world. It could be even in one computer, but when you use blockchain, that registry is all over the world in many computers, right? So it's the registry of something, and is not replaceable. Non-fungible would means, like, for instance, if I owe you $100, I can give you, whether if I have $200 bills, I can give you whatever, this one or this one, or I can even give you five $20 bills or two $50 bills, because you need me to pay you your $100. When you're talking about a non-fungible token, it's not the same to have this one or this one. It's different. Both are different, and they have different values because they're different. Many people may like more this one than this one. So it's non-fungible, are not interchangeable. And there was a hype about art. As I mentioned, one of the greatest impacts was the selling of this digital art by $69 million. So it was a lot of hype making art in the use of NFTs. I will say that has come down, that hype. That doesn't mean that there is not real value or art in some with some artists, but it was a hype. But just turning the page on the art world, the use of NFTs in the art world, like, for instance, I would say in the use in the professional world is really great. And another explanation that I make about NFTs, I would say your university degree, your title of the university that you study engineering or accountancy, I'm an accountant myself, is a non-fungible document, because doesn't matter that you and I went to the same school, studied the same major, and even have the same grades. Your university title will say Ramón, and mine will say Jorge. And I cannot go to ask for a job and present your title. So that is kind of a non-fungible document. So it's just to make it clear to the people that some of the concepts, we have been using them for centuries. But now we use technology to make it better. So, like, for instance, when I was young, I went to study to Spain. Then I have to take my university title, go to a notary, so they have to stamp it and just sign it that it was real. With blockchain, I don't need to do that. I can go to study to Spain or to Germany or to the UK, and I can carry my title digitally, so not in a backpack, and then go and study in the UK, and they will be able to see that my title from the university is real.
Excellent. Clear explanation. Raj, I quickly try to regard the Jorge's explain us in your opinion, because you're an expert in blockchain and you talked about that. For example, the relationship that there are in the blockchain and using NFTs. In your opinion, what is I talked a lot about challenge, because I think this is the question that we have to do related to think about the future, and this challenge is important to question about that, because it's the most important thing to create an idea in our minds to understand what is the way through we are talking in a few years. For that reason, the relationship between blockchain and NFTs, in your opinion, the strongest relation is supported in the technology. But what kind of information you can explain us about that?
All right, it's a pretty simple thing. Without blockchain, there is no NFTs, and NFTs they have to coexist. Why? If you look at it very carefully, what is the basic purpose of the NFT? It is to prove provenance, ownership, right? It proves the ownership. If I'm putting something up, if it's something being put up, how do I know that this particular digital art? Now, Jorge talked about the $69 million digital art. That was Beeple. How do I know that it is mine? Everybody can take a picture of it and say, well, this is mine, that's mine, because it's digital art. But then, how do you prove it's yours? And you can only prove it because it's on the blockchain. And blockchain, with its smart contracts, is programmable trust. You can actually program everything you like right from the time when you created the art piece or whatever you like, everything on that. It's like a certificate. And as Jorge nicely explained, just like a university degree, it's perfectly exactly the same example. It's only one. We all go to the same school, we all get a certificate, but all of us have got different grades or different, everyone has different names. So that's ourselves. Like this, in the future, as we go, NFTs are connected also to the Meta wallet, to your MetaMask wallets. One of the key things in the future, in Web3, everything is going to be connected there. In fact, right from your wallet, which you talk about, where we can actually park these credentials, these NFTs, real life NFTs. I'm not talking about digital art. It's just even that you can lock up there. It's going to be connected with wallets. All these things can only exist because of the basic principles of blockchain. Distributed, disintermediated, immutable. These are the three core fundamentals of blockchain. NFT rests on the same fundamentals. It's distributed. So all your data is distributed. Your nodes are distributed. People are sitting all over the world and validating transactions. NFTs work on the Ethereum virtual machine. And basically, you can make NFTs only if you have access to the blockchain. Otherwise, you can't. So the correlation is like let's say yin and yang. They're two sides of the same coin. However, they're not crypto and blockchain. That is really different. But NFTs and blockchain, great use case. I would say blockchain is the highway. NFT is one of the beautiful cars running on it. Nice limo on that. That's an NFT for you. That's also because the blockchain provides the surface. You can have many more use cases. You can have different vehicles running on it, but NFT, great use case of the blockchain. Provenance, ownership, certification, one single source of truth. That's blockchain.
Excellent. Well, thanks a lot. Thank you very much, both of you, for this interview and speak with you. It's a great explanation. In fact, a clear information that a lot of people like me, who is interested to understand and in the future try to continue to invest more or maybe investigate about this kind of technology. To try to end this panel, I would like a conclusion of each one of you to try to send a message to our panelists and our the people that is hearing this panel. A great message to try to feed in his mind an important information related to the blockchain and NFTs. Raj, please.
Okay, I have a very nice, I like, there are two sentences which I'll speak here. The first one, there was an article I read in Forbes magazine about a year back. It said, we won't trust anything unless it's on the blockchain. Really validating the power of that technology. Why? Because again, it's immutable. You cannot manipulate it. Once a record is cast inside, it's there for good. Also, not just the entire block is secure. Every transaction is encrypted and secure. So how much more security do you want? It's just not you locked your house. You locked everything inside your house. That's how secure it is. The second thing, the world of the future is going to change from working on economics to tokenomics. That tokenomics is a great byproduct of the blockchain technology. Another thing that I'd like to tell you, I said two, but I'll actually say four. All are important. Blockchain is an institutional technology, not just an information technology. And institutional technologies don't come around. The first one was the internet. Now it's the blockchain, 25, 22 years down the line. Now, why? Because institutional technologies, Ramon, have the power to create economies. Blockchain has done that. And finally, I would say in the business world, for the corporate world, the whole paradigm is going to change. The people are not going to ask this question, is it in the database? Well, everything is in the database. We are living in a digital world, yeah. But the next question, the question of the next half century will be, is it on the blockchain? That is going to be the big difference between blockchain and any other technology. Blockchain will be the umbrella technology. Everything else will come and go along with it and work with it. Blockchain is there for good. And we are at the ground floor of the blockchain opportunity. Only one way up, right up there, to the moon.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Raj, for explanation and this message that is very, very interesting. Jorge, please, to conclude this panel.
Yeah, I will say two things. The first one is Dior. So you have to remember this. Dior, DYOR. Do your own research. That's very, very important. I mean, I will invite everybody to try out blockchain, even cryptocurrencies, but you have to be responsible. Mainly in cryptocurrencies, it's very, very important to apply this. Dior, do your own research. Once you start understanding the technology, and you can support yourself. There are a lot of, for instance, in Latin America, there are a lot of courses, even in great universities, or there are such great companies like Horizons that can help you out to make possible the program you want to implement in blockchain for companies. But it's very important that you understand the technology so that you feel confidence. And the second thing is that I will invite everybody to try out blockchain. Maybe just a tiny part. Yeah, just if you're interested in cryptocurrencies, the best way to do it is buy some. Study first and then buy. Experiment. Maybe just with a tiny part, just put in $10. See what happens. But you have to try it out in cryptocurrencies. And in the rest of the uses that for me is much more important, the use of blockchain in mainstream, I would say just try it out. You will see that it's not that difficult. And you can start using blockchain in your everyday life today.
Absolutely. I think that's well summarized. And just one line I would like to share with everybody out here. When blockchain started, it started with speculation because it started with Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies. But today it's become a revolution. So I think your journey also should be from speculation to revolution. Remember that.
Thank you very much, Raj. Jorge, it's a pleasure to be here with you. I be happy to understand and be part of this panel. Thanks a lot for your participation.
Thank you.
Thanks, and we send a lot of information to the people who is hearing this panel. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, Raj. Pleasure.
Pleasure again. Let's connect again. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.